Welcome to you all. We are here to give a special award to music, which is the Michigan Urological Surgical Improvement Collaborative. I can only say that once. I can only say that once particularly because I just had a stroke 3 weeks ago. But normally I can only say that once. So we'll refer to this as music, but they've been a leader in active surveillance. And much of the audience here will be our men on active surveillance. So I wanted to say a couple of words about Active Surveillance Patients International. We're a band of brothers united around the prostate, united to help men navigate active surveillance. We also feel very strongly about providing hope to men. And so, and two, with my own journey of 18 years ago, there was very little hope for several years. But we're here to tell you all that there is much hope, that you can live a life thriving, that it's important to get second opinions. And we have a number of different messages for all of you that are dealing with the prostate cancer issue. But why we are honoring music today is that they are a center of excellence. They have achieved a 90% uptake in active surveillance for low risk prostate cancer. Now, the national average is 60%. What's that mean? That means that 30% of the men in the United States are still being overtreated for prostate cancer. So we have much work to do, and we will continue to be here to support all of you. You'll see this award on the screen here. And the award on the screen is a very important award. I designed this award specifically with music in mind. It's about what they do so well, listening. And I think that is critical in the patient-doctor relationship. I heard Dr. Ginsburg's story about music, and it is one of listening. And so you'll see on the hand there, patient and doctor listening to one another. And I think that goes to all of our medical issues. If we could listen better, we would have a much improved medical system. So music has really been a beacon of light for us all in terms of how to do that best. I want to thank the committee for their work on this special award. We also just presented the Shodak Award to a physician, Dr. Albertson. Last year, the Shodak Award, and this award, by the way, is under the umbrella of the Shodak team. And all these awards are not just about honoring individuals, or in this case, music, but it's also about our mission of trying to do what we can to promote active surveillance. With that, I'd like to introduce Howard Walensky, who has been a part of the committee and really a big proponent of active surveillance. Howard, you have a few words you want to say?
Yeah, thanks, Mark and Tom. I do have a few words, I hope. The 1990s were a time for a radical change in technology and economics for urologists and their prostate patients. Note the word radical. PSA screening, biopsy guns, and ultrasound were transforming radical prostatectomies into bread and butter procedures for urologists. No doubt the lives of some men with advanced prostate cancer were saved, but those of us with low-risk prostate cancer paid a price with overdiagnosis and overtreatment of a cancer that we, in probably most cases, can live with. But those who opted for treatment ended up in large numbers with impotence, incontinence, and other side effects from aggressive and we believe unnecessary treatment. Some visionaries began promoting a radical idea, active surveillance, to try to apply the brakes on the runaway train of lower risk prostate cancer treatment. Skeptics said active surveillance would never catch on in the American healthcare system. They said the incentives of surgical fees would be a barrier to acceptance of AS among urologists, and that lower risk patients would not accept AS as a safe alternative to active treatment. But some visionaries, Dr. David Miller and Dr. Jim Monty of the University of Michigan, and I have to add, go blue, with funding from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, and I used to be one of their customers too, so go Blue Cross, said there could be another way. In 2010, they started MUSIC, Michigan Urological Surgery Improvement Coalition. What does MUSIC do? MUSIC convenes regular meetings of the vast majority of urologists in the state of Michigan with the goal of improving care, not just prostate care, but kidney care, et cetera. They discuss the best practices. They critique each other's surgical techniques, which I think is pretty bold and creative, and it takes a lot of guts. They promote transperineal biopsies to avoid infection. Also, they include patient advocates in setting their recommendations. MUSIC did what critics thought impossible. In 2021, MUSIC achieved a 90% uptake of active surveillance in low-risk patients and 45% uptake in favorable intermediate risk patients. Nationally, this compares with a 60% uptake of AS in low-risk patients. In other words, 40% are being treated, and therefore the MUSIC's 45% in favorable intermediate risk patients compares to a national rate of 20%. MUSIC is doing something right. And that's why we're here today, to recognize MUSIC and all their efforts. Now, I went to Grand Rapids, Michigan recently to present this award in person, but we're doing a special online version so that more people can be reached. Now, why can't the map MUSIC created be followed nationwide? Well, I think it can be. MUSIC now has sites in 4 other states. So at any rate, when I was in Grand Rapids, I congratulated the MUSIC team, but I challenged them to do more. MUSIC has an opportunity to work with patients to help reverse the high dropout rate from active surveillance. Within 5 years of diagnosis, more than 20 to 30% of patients leave AS without an upgrade to their Gleason scores. That's the next frontier from where I'm sitting. So congratulations to MUSIC for what it has accomplished and for being recognized with the ASPI award, the painting called Hands. I will turn this over now to Dr. Ginsburg, who is co-director of MUSIC's prostate program and a urological oncologist at Wayne State. Dr. G, it's up to you now.
All right, perfect. Well, I'm gonna screen share then and make this bigger. All right, well, perfect. Thank you all again for, I want to thank A.S.P.I for thinking of us for this award, and for, it's really a special award, and I'll comment in a second when I get to our purpose statement, as patients are at the foundation of our purpose. And so to get an award from a group of, from A.S.P.I, a group of patients, patient advocates, really is so much more special than if this award came from the AUA, or the Society of Urologic Oncology. So thank you again, A.S.P.I, Howard, Mark, everyone for again acknowledging what we've done in MUSIC, and hopefully people can continue to learn from our lessons and see what we've done here. So, all right, just for the sake of transparency, I have no real relevant disclosures other than I serve on an advisory board for J&J about quality, but I don't think people get too bent up about helping improve quality. So again, here's a copy of the beautiful award. It's currently hanging in my office right now. Unfortunately, I'm not in my office today. I'm in a satellite location. I'm just in a cubicle, so you can't unfortunately see it behind me, but thanks again. All right, so who are we? We are MUSIC, the Michigan Urological Surgery Improvement Collaborative. We are a group here at the bottom of 260 urologists from 46 practices, geographically from the entire state of Michigan, from the Upper Peninsula to the Lower Peninsula, east side of the state, west side of the state, everywhere in between. Urologists that are part of private practice groups, small and large groups, hospital employed groups, academic centers. Point being is it's very hard to bump into a urologist in the state of Michigan and not have them be a MUSIC urologist. And importantly, we're a group of also that has 15 patient advocates that are very dedicated and really help ensure that what we are doing really resonates and matters to the patients, that the initiatives that we put forward, what we're trying to improve quality upon, really matters to patients. And so we're very grateful for our patient advocates that come to our meetings, that come to our collaborative wide meetings. They help provide input during our working group meetings as well as our weekly meetings. And I skipped our purpose statement, excuse me. So MUSIC, we actually just was our 10-year anniversary, as stated by Howard earlier. MUSIC started in 2012. And so after celebrating our 10-year anniversary, we went back and kind of took stock to see what we've done in the last 10 years and where we want to be in the next, hopefully 10 years. And that part of that involved working actually with a consultant to make sure that our purpose statement was accurate and up to date. And so our current revised and up-to-date purpose statement is that MUSIC is a community that partners to improve patients' lives by inspiring high-quality care through data-driven best practices, education, and innovation. Hopefully, in the next several slides, when I kind of share what I think makes MUSIC special and kind of our playbook, so to speak, I think you'll see that each of these points really, hopefully, are highlighted in the next several slides. And so, as we know about, as Howard said today, one of the early wins for MUSIC was to tackle active surveillance for prostate cancer. 2012, the use of active surveillance nationally was very, very poor. Probably around 20 or so % of men with low risk prostate cancer went on active surveillance. The most, unfortunately, received radical treatment, either in form of radiation and surgery. And understanding that this was a huge quality gap. This was one of the first heavy points of emphasis within MUSIC. And so this was actually a publication from 2015 here, where each dot represents a different practice within MUSIC. And the axis here is the percent of their men with low risk prostate cancer that went on active surveillance. And so you could see the collaborative as a whole was sitting somewhere around 50%, but there was really notable variability here, that some practices used a lot of active surveillance and some used very little active surveillance. And when we take this a step further and now look within practices to look at individual urologists, where each dot represents an individual urologist, there's notable variability across practices, but there's huge variability even within practices. Here you see a group where there's someone who doesn't use any active surveillance, and there's someone who puts nearly 100% of their patients on active surveillance with low risk disease. And so we knew that this was a problem. And so this was, again, something that we drove into as a group. And this is kind of what we call the MUSIC playbook, that we collect data, we see where we are, we identify the problem. The old adage goes, you can't manage what you can't measure. And so, we have to be able to measure, understand what we're doing to then inform, come up with a plan, develop interventions, and then see where our outcomes are, and then use that to then assess for progress, figure out where we're excelling, figure out where maybe we're coming up short, and then again, develop more plans, more interventions, and continue. And this cycle has actually been quite successful within MUSIC. You can see here that Rome wasn't built in a day. We didn't go from around 50% of active surveillance in 2012 to 90% overnight. It took several years, but again, it takes concerted effort, and we were able to really drive here to over 90% of men in the state of Michigan in 2021 with low risk prostate cancer went on active surveillance, something that we are quite proud of that achievement. And you can see here, this is from the AUA's Aqua registry. In 2021, approximately 60% of men naturally went on active surveillance. So what makes MUSIC special? How do we think we were able to accomplish this? What can others learn from kind of the MUSIC model? Well, the first is I think we're, again, extremely lucky and grateful to have very dedicated patient advocates. They're steadfast in their commitment to music, absolutely pivotal to the process to make sure that what we're doing really resonates strongly with patients and matters to patients. Because ultimately, like we said, patients are at the foundation of our purpose statement, and we want to make sure that what we're doing really matters. Additionally, we've had tremendous buy-in. You know, this is a coalition of the willing. No one is being forced to be a part of music. People are here because they want to be here, and as a consequence, you know, you can't, you know, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. But you know, luckily, you know, these are all horses that really want to drink. So we're very grateful also, and that has really set us up for a lot of success. That these are people that care about quality and they want to provide the best care possible for their patients. Dr. Miller and Dr. Monty were geniuses. They were able to really foster an environment that's exceptionally unique, that this is a group of people that gets together and wants to help each other, want to learn from each other, want to leverage each other's experiences to all provide the best care imaginable to their patients. It sounds very cliche, but it really is a mentality of a rising tide lifts all boats. And as a consequence of that, we're really able to help improve the quality of care across the board and not step on each other's backs to try and, you know, have one person really rise to the top. The registry is extremely important. You saw data pop up in our purpose statement. Data is the first step of quality improvement. If you want to improve something, you have to know what you're improving upon. You know, it's far too easy for people to think they do the right things. Oh, of course, all my low risk prostate cancer patients go on active surveillance. Well, what is that? What percentage is it? You know, you really have to know what your values are. You have to be able to measure it to know that you're improving the quality of care. And so we're very lucky that we have a great registry. It's very powerful, it's fluid, it's dynamic. We control the registry, so we can add variables as needed, and you know, kind of go to where the puck is going and what we think is important in prostate cancer. Additionally, we have a just rock solid partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. We're extremely lucky to have very steadfast partners in Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. They fund our initiatives, they fund the physical infrastructure of music, the registry, the data collection mechanisms, and all that is very important because that makes participation very, very easy for physicians. You know, they don't have to worry about figuring out how are they going to fund data abstraction. They don't have to worry about entering data themselves. All that is really taken care of for them. So all they have to do is take care of their patients and want to get better and want to, you know, kind of listen to what we all are talking about at our meetings and try and improve the quality of care. And so as a consequence of that, really the support from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan has really helped us really excel. And then lastly, there's a lot of education that goes on in music. We get together 3 times a year in person. Howard was at our last meeting. You know, usually 260 urologists, we're floating somewhere around 100 or so tend to show up to our meetings, as well as other members of music, data abstractors, office managers, patient advocates, occasionally some guests as well. And we get together and we really talk about what we think is important in terms of prostate care, kidney cancer care, and kidney stone care, and really allows us to make sure that the initiatives of what we're doing are things that matter to patients and the urologists. Additionally, we develop resources. I would encourage everyone to look on our website, musicurology.com. We have great resources for urologists, for primary care physicians, as well as for patients and for their spouses across a whole spectrum of urologic conditions, not just prostate cancer. So just a kind of little snippet of some of the educational materials that were developed here with music, and including this one had a very valuable input from A.S.P.I and Howard Mark and others. So what's the music model for quality improvement? Well, one, I think it's very important that, again, it's a coalition of the willing. Buy-in's essential. You can't have it be pulling teeth. You got to have people that really care, really want to get better and provide the best, you know, quality of care possible to their patients. Data is, again, integral to this too. You know, you have to know where you are and you have to know where you're going, and you have to be able to see if you get there. Without it, it's far too easy just to kind of speak in generalizability and generalize kind of terms. And so data is, again, I think really essential. education and resources. And then lastly, we're lucky that we have great support from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. And so with that, I'll hand it back to Howard and Mark. I want to thank everyone again at ASPI for thinking of us for this award. We're very grateful and honored to receive this, and looking forward to partnering with ASPI to help increase, again, improve the quality of care for all men with low risk disease, and hopefully trying to get the United States above 60% to 70, 80, and 90% in the not too distant future. So thanks again.
Okay, thank you. Howard, if I may, I'll just say a word or two here that I failed to say. You and music are indeed a beacon of light for the country, for the world on this subject. So it honors us to present you the award. It's I suppose it's a little rare where it's as much of an honor for us to present you the award as it is for you to receive the award, but indeed it is. And one thing I failed to say about ASPI as well is that we are not blindly focused on active surveillance. We have 3 board members that have had to transition to treatment. So if you need treatment, you need treatment, but the message is still the same. You can thrive with prostate cancer. Whether you're on active surveillance or whether you've been treated, you can thrive with prostate cancer. So there is always hope. Howard, did you want to say a couple of other words or not?
Why don't we just finish with your words? And, I thank everybody for coming. I thank Kevin, especially for coming, because I know it's not easy to work us in, but we appreciate what you and music have done. And, Mark talked about a beacon. I think your people in music are a beacon. And I think it's the future in your field. We just need to keep moving that biopsy needle.
I guess that's the end.
Really, we need to replace the biopsy needle. So we need to
I know.
do, but one
Oh,
step
there
at a
you go.
time.
But-
One
but
step
the-
at a time.